Well, what's up, Cam?
Not much, Mitch. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. I got some new color-changing light bulbs that I can't get to work, but other than that, we're doing all right.
Well, what kind of light bulbs are they?
They're the Philips bulbs, but they're the newer ones that are Wiz connected. And I put 3 of them in my studio this morning. And of course, I did it like 20 minutes before the show. We're to go live on the show here.
Yeah, naturally.
So, yeah, because that's what geeks do. We got to get these in. And one of them works. The other 2 are on and are giving me warm white light, but I can't get them connected to the app. So, and I might return these anyway. I was hoping that they would have some of the features of the Hue lights, but these things are $13 a piece and don't require a hub. And so I thought, well, rather than paying $150 for a Hue starter kit, I would give these a try and see if they worked really well. And, we put one in the bedroom last night and set up like the sunrise, sunset, circadian rhythm thing. Mm-hmm. And that worked really well this morning. I woke up actually feeling a little bit more refreshed and actually wanted to get out of bed a little bit sooner than I normally do. So
impressive. I
didn't get out of bed sooner than I normally do, but
but you just wanted to.
I wanted to. So, but no, they're nice. Not to do like a full review. I literally just got them last night. But if I can get these other 2 to work down here, then I got a decision to make as to whether or not I'm going to keep these or spring for a regular Hue set. I really wanted to use them with Portal, but yeah, I don't think these are going to work with Portal because they don't have the bridge. But anyway, so today we wanted to start off talking a little bit about our iOS 14 follow-up. Is there anything new that you've learned since we last talked?
Like feature-wise or experience-wise, Mitch?
I'll leave it to you.
Okay, so I really haven't learned anything since our last episode feature-wise, but I do have some thoughts on how iOS 14 has changed my experience with my phone. So to refresh everyone's memories, I'm running one home screen with a couple of widgets, some of which are in a stack, and then I have 8 apps on the bottom 2 rows, and then my dock is full, and then I just use the app library. So I have no secondary home screen. I'm just running one screen in the app library because I just wanted to see how much that would change how I interact with my phone. And it has significantly. Like, there are apps on my phone that I would usually just poke around in that I don't touch anymore because they're hidden in the app library, and I'm not sitting around digging for apps. So I'm actually, when I go to my phone, it's because I want to do something. I want to, create a task. I want to send a text message. I want to start a podcast, instead of like, I'm just going to flip through my home screens until an app seems worth opening as a way to, waste time or entertain myself. So that to me is a positive because I'm just going in to accomplish a task or to retrieve information or to communicate with somebody. So I like it from that perspective. What is frustrating to me with the app library is the way that applications are categorized by Apple. Like, for instance, Apple Wallet is a utility, yet my Capital One banking app is listed under productivity. They're both money applications. Why are they in different categories? And why is my bank account app in a productivity section? It's not a productivity app. I don't go to my bank app to get stuff done. I go to my bank app to check my balance and make sure that the charges are correct.
Yeah, I think they could do a better job with the categorization.
Yeah, it's just
categories that are available.
And like Overcast is under reference and reading, and podcast is in entertainment. They're both podcast apps. Why are they in different boxes?
Right.
Overcast is not a reference or a reading app. It is a podcast app. I don't read. I don't reference it. So there's just little things like that that are very inconsistent with how applications are categorized. And it is a bit frustrating because like all of Apple's first party applications I would say are in the right categories. It's the third-party applications that have been put in the wrong ones. And I'm hoping that that gets fixed in the beta at some point, because to the best of my knowledge, there's no way for me to custom sort or categorize the app library. I have no power over that, which is a little, I mean, I get it. It's V1, but I would love for like my creativity apps, like all my camera stuff, to not be buried 5 rows down. I would like that one to be up, and I would like to move social down so it's not there, so I don't see it.
Right.
So those are my 2 main thoughts: a good thought and a bad thought, or not a bad thought, a good experience and a bad experience that I have kind of come to the conclusion of this week.
So the one that gets me is the App Store. Do you see where that is?
Oh yeah, I remember this one. But yeah, it's an entertainment, which
it's an entertainment.
Okay, so not all of Apple's first party apps are in the right box. It should be in utilities.
I always kept a folder that I just entitled money. So anything that had to do with money went into that app. So that's where my shopping apps went. That's where my banking apps went. Anything that I wasn't using on a regular basis, that's where that stuff went. I would love for a category in here to just be money or finance or something like that all those apps could just get dropped into. And I would say App Store would fall into that loosely, because I don't usually go to the App Store to like just browse. It's usually to buy something or to download something.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, did you have any other thoughts about the app library? I think there's customization is needed.
Yeah, and that'll come eventually. So it's just a matter of when Apple pulls the trigger on allowing that to happen.
Yeah, I see my banking apps are in productivity as well.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that one.
One thought that I do have is that maybe these are categorized by how the developers have them categorized. I don't know if there's a checkbox that they have to go through or a drop-down menu or something like that say, you see Overcast as in a reference and reading, that perhaps he's got himself under news or some kind of heading like that that's causing him not to be put into entertainment or one of the other
he's number 59 on the news chart right now.
Yeah, so that's likely, I would think that's probably the reason, and maybe that's something that Apple has to address with the developers, and maybe it's something that they have addressed with the developers, just making sure that everything's categorized properly.
I don't understand why Overcast is a news app, because like I'm looking at my Capital One app in the App Store, and it's number 11 on the finance chart, but it's in the productivity folder. So I think there's a few things afoot here, but we shall see.
A few more categories would be good. A finance category definitely, I think, would be preferred. One solution I can think of, if it is the issue with the developers not categorizing them properly, perhaps they have an app library category when they submit their apps, that they can just drop down menu, here's where I think it should go. And then rather than it being tied to how they're categorized in the App Store, perhaps there can be something there that says, no, this is where it should go in the app library. Maybe that's a solution.
Yep. I think that's a good suggestion. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, and that's if I'm correct about that. I may not be. But as far as my feelings on this, I kind of locked myself into 2 main screens. And I talked about this a little bit last time, that there's my everyday apps on the front screen with a stack of widgets at the top. So I can just kind of flip through that stack. And like I've got pretty much anything I want to get to. I've got my weather, I've got battery, stocks, because I do keep track of my company stocks, news, because I do check into news in the morning, and calendar and stuff like, and activity, some shortcuts. I do have stuff like that on the main screen in that stack. The one thing I did turn off is that auto rotate, because that drives me nuts. Because, if I just want to look at, I usually leave the weather at the top, Because to me, that's the one thing. If I'm going to look for a real glanceable information, weather is usually what I'm looking for. But I can definitely tell you that when third-party apps can start offering widgets, that's all going to change. Because I definitely want Fantastical and OmniFocus and Carrot Weather all in separate tiles on the screen here.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I'll probably get rid of that stack altogether. But I did something for the first time this morning on my second page. I have a music widget at the top, and I've got the full width one, the 2x4 size widget. So it shows me my most recent albums that I've listened to and the last song that I listened to. I deprecated the music icon or the music app on the screen. I just threw it into a folder, and because now I can just hit the widget and the widget takes me into music. So I'm going to try that for a little while and see how that works for me.
And the widget shows your recently played, right?
Yeah, it shows you the 4 most recently played playlists. So I have one that when we unload trucks at work, I've got one that's all set up for that. It's about 200 songs that range from the 60s on up through today, just to keep us moving and have some fun. Then I got a blues playlist that I listen to from time to time, and then a couple of albums that I recently listened to. So yeah, it shows all those up there. And then the most recent song I listened to is at the top.
I'm interested in that blues playlist, Mitch.
Well, I listened to, it's the Apple Music Essential Electric Blues. And what makes you interested about that?
I really like blues music and was obsessed with it for quite a long time when I was first learning guitar back in high school.
Sure.
So just lots of good memories and good guitar solos.
Yeah, I love anything from like Stevie Ray Vaughan. That I think I can turn him on just about anywhere and crave barbecue. I'm sorry, Stevie Ray is always on when we go to Famous Dave's. So, but like even some of the old school stuff, I love some really good, dirty, what's the metal slide guitar. Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law actually plays, he's got some records out and he lives down in Nashville and he plays a really mean electric slide guitar. And I fell in love with it when I heard him playing it. So.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, but that's my entertainment page, essentially, and that has music, books, games, and just like my social stuff and some web stuff in there too. Just anywhere that I go that is just to kill some time and, is on that page.
Cool.
So we talked about back taps. The idea that inaccessibility, and I didn't find it easy to look for. I had to look it up to find it. But back taps give you the ability to tap the back of the phone and like evoke actions, things for the operating system to do. I'm trying that out, and we mentioned it just before we went on the air today. And you said you'd kind of forgotten about that and hadn't tried that yet.
Yeah, I had completely forgotten about it. I was super excited when I heard about it, and then you know, as with most things, if I don't take action right away, I forget.
So, you and I are both in the what used to be referred to as the Plus Club phones, right? I've got. Oh no, you have the 11, the iPhone 11.
I have the iPhone 11. Yes.
Okay, so then I misspoke. You have the iPhone 11. I've got the iPhone 11 Pro Max.
Ooh.
And they're both big phones, right?
Oh yeah, but yours is
a little bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's always a pain in the butt to try and reach to the top of the screen when you're trying to use it one-handed.
Mm-hmm. I
decided, you know what? If I'm going to try this back tap feature, I'm going to set up notifications as my 2 taps on the back.
Oh, that's clever, Mitch.
Yeah. So now when I'm holding my phone, and I'll do it live on the show, and nobody cares because they can't see it. But I just tap on the back of the phone. I don't know if you can hear that. There we go. And my notification center pops down. It does take about a second or so to acknowledge it. So you kind of have to, it kind of waits for a beat and then it drops it down. And it works pretty well. I might even put Control Center on the triple tap. I haven't done that, but what I do have to say is now my notification center pops down on my phone a couple times a day when I didn't realize or didn't want it. Just because maybe I might just be tapping on the back of my phone just as a nervous tick or something like that. And all of a sudden my notification center pops down. So it's a cool feature. It probably, if I keep using it, I'm going to have to retrain myself to not tap on the phone whenever, but it's interesting. I like it.
So if, say your co-host and maybe some listeners wanted to turn this feature on, say right now, Mitch.
Sure.
Do you remember how to get there in the oh so well organized settings app?
All right. So first off, you go to settings, and as everybody knows, the setting app is in the dock down on the lower right-hand side. For those of you who did not listen to last week's episode, that's reference humor.
Yeah, that's some inside baseball. Good job.
Under accessibility, you're going to go into accessibility and then look under the physical and motor category here, because it's kind of split into different categories under touch. So tap on touch and then slide all the way down to the bottom and you'll see back tap.
Oh, nice.
So you tap on that and it gives you a double tap or triple tap. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and make Control Center my triple tap. All right, now I can triple tap.
And all my shortcuts are here. Oh, I forgot about that, Mitch.
Yes.
This is exciting.
Mm-hmm. So that should be fun. So if you have a shortcut that you use a lot, you can just tie it to your back tap.
Pretty cool. I like this. Thank you, sir.
You betcha. Trying to think of if there's anything else that I've happened upon that I've been pretty excited about. I've actually found the battery widget to be fairly useful.
I find it more useful on my iPad because I can quickly see where my pencil's charge is at. And then obviously if I have my AirPods connected.
Okay, so quick question. You have an iPad Pro?
Yes.
And is it the original?
No, I bought it in March.
Okay, so it uses the new pencil.
Yeah, it's the brand new Pro that just released this spring.
Okay. So I have the 9.7 inch iPad Pro, the original one, with the original pencil.
Yeah.
And if there's any reason I want to upgrade to a new iPad, that is the reason. This pencil, plugging it into the lightning adapter to charge it. I lost that little adapter a long time ago to plug it into a cable. Mm-hmm. But you have to plug it into that lightning port on the unit to charge it, and then it doesn't attach to anything. I have a Logitech Create, I think it was called, case for it. So there's a little loop for the pencil, and so it works pretty well for that. By the way, that's one of the things that I don't like about the new ones. It's really hard to find a good case. I really love this Logitech Create case. Mm-hmm. For the smaller ones. I know there was some complaints about the one for the 12.9 inch iPad, but this is like the case as far as I'm concerned. You know, if they would come out with one of these for the new iPads, I'd be sold.
I just use the Apple case. I forget what it's called. It's just the one
smart keyboard case, or
no? It's just it's got the trifold flap. And on the old iPads, it would attach to the side and just kind of flip down. But on the iPad Pro, it actually covers the back and the front. So I just got that, and I really like
the Folio, I think it's called.
Yeah, and I use that, to protect it when I put it in my bag or whatever. But if I'm working on it at my desk, I have it in a separate stand, so I pop it out of that case because it just connects by magnet, so it's really easy. And then I put it in a stand so that it can be at eye height while I'm working at it at my desk. And then I use an external keyboard.
I know that there's been a couple of buggy things with the betas. I don't know that we talked about them last week. But a few apps that haven't been playing nicely with it. Have you run into a whole lot of that?
The only thing that I've noticed is the music app on my iPhone tends to, especially when I first open it, really lock up and struggle.
Okay.
And so I just close it and reopen it, and it's usually fine. But that's really the only thing. I've had one springboard crash when I first installed the beta on my phone, but I haven't, other than that one springboard crash and music occasionally struggling, I haven't had any other issues, which I'm kind of astonished by.
Yeah, no, it's been solid. Don't get me wrong. It's been super solid. I know that I think I had a OmniFocus crash. I mean, one crash is not the end of the world, but I think that crashed on me once. There was an app I was using the other day that I was flipping through. It might have even been Safari. I was flipping through a web page and it started that tearing. If you know what I'm talking about, where the part of the page is behind the rest of it. So as you're scrolling, maybe the left-hand side of the page is scrolling normally, but then as you get towards the right-hand side, it's not scrolling at the same rate.
Oh, that's kind of freaky.
Yeah. It might have been a web app that I was using that was doing that. I forget, but I'm going to blame it on iOS 14 because that's what you do.
Yeah.
And I am not a huge Pokemon Go guy, but every once in a while I like to dump into the app and just collect a few Pokemon and check in and see how my Raichu is doing. But I haven't been able to do that since I updated to the iOS 14 beta because it pretty much crashes on launch. And now it's going to make a liar out of me, isn't it? Because I'm loading it up right now. They must have updated it. It's opening now. So that's progress. Now I can collect Pokemon and Pokeballs and be pathetic again. So I was having a problem with the Mario Kart app as well.
I have a very important question, Mitch.
Yeah.
Do you listen to Polka when you play Pokemon?
I do not.
Yeah, that was the whole dad joke there, right?
Yeah, that is the national or the state music of Wisconsin.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
When I used to DJ back in the day, we would say, okay, because polka is the national music of Wisconsin, or I'm sorry, the state music of Wisconsin. We need to play at least one polka every time we do that. And it was always fun because you may not gauge the crowd right. So if everybody sits down and doesn't care, that's fine. But if the whole place goes nuts, that's all you play the rest of the night is polka. So, my family, for our weddings, they could have played polka all night because my family goes crazy for polka.
Wow.
The Apple Peaches polka is I don't care about the whole roll out the barrel crap. The Apple's Peaches polka is the best.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
You can look that one up.
I just made a bad joke, and now I'm learning things.
And now you're regretting it. All right. Well, I don't think I really have much to say about iOS 14 at that point. We covered everything that I was thinking about covering. We can always talk about a little bit more. One other thing that I did think about, and it's been discussed a little bit on a couple of the podcasts that I've listened to in the last week, is the widgets on the iPad. Apparently, and I can't remember the interview and I can't remember the podcast that I heard this on. So I'm doing a terrible job of being a good podcaster. But apparently it's extremely difficult to do it on the iPad because on the iPhone you have one orientation, but on the iPad you have two and really three if you have your widgets in the left-hand side of the screen. So because the icons move around and they change width on the screen, they said it just at least at this point, was too difficult to do, which I hadn't thought about that, but that actually makes perfect sense.
Well, so the obvious answer to me is you get rid of the 2x4 one and you have the 2x2 and the 4x4. Because if you rotate your iPad now, they just rotate. Before they used to reshuffle, now they just rotate 90 degrees. So if you get rid of the rectangular widget and you have two square widgets, you just rotate them and you're fine.
I think they still have to take into consideration the folks that don't have the Today view on the main page, which there's still some issues there. I can understand. I could be wrong. There was somebody from Apple that was interviewed about this, and that's what they had said. Is just what I said, that it's just a little bit harder to do that, and that it sounded like it was something that was coming. They were working the problem, but yeah.
Well, one day, Mitch, hopefully.
One day on an infinite timescale, we will all get what we want.
That's optimistic.
We're recording early. I didn't think I was gonna mention this, but we're all a little bit busy the week of the 25th, so we're recording a little bit early, and we decided to try something new this week, and I hope that this is an element that we can do regularly. But I've always loved podcasts that, for lack of a better way to put it, they do drafts, or they come up with lists of things that they like. And I love the concept of it, because it makes it easy to really talk about different things that we love to talk about, that it kind of plays it into an entertaining structure. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we are not doing a draft, but what we're doing is probably our equivalent of, and we're gonna do top 5. So we'll go back and forth, and we'll mention something that we love. And today's subject is iPhone apps, and I've conveniently and maybe maddeningly left it wide open. So it's not necessarily the top 5 iPhone apps that we use a lot, or that it's just top 5 iPhone apps that we absolutely love, for whatever reason. And we'll talk about the reasons for that and all that kind of stuff. And it'll be fun, I hope, or it'll be terrible, one or the other. So we'll give it a try. If it's terrible, we'll never do this again. So,
all right, no pressure.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go ahead first. I'll cede the first app to you.
Counting down or counting up? 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
I don't think. How do you want to do it? You want to do it 5 to 1? Leave our favorite apps to the end, or start with our
let's
favorite
build
apps?
A little suspense, Mitch.
Yeah, it's called teasing. So the problem is that we might talk about these other apps and give away our top apps. So, but we'll go with it.
All right.
Cam, go ahead with your first one.
My number 5 favorite iPhone app is OmniFocus. I like OmniFocus. Did I steal one of yours, Mitch?
I think you did.
Well, we can have the same picks. But it'll be interesting to see why I have it at 5 and you have it elsewhere, if that's the case.
Oh no, this doesn't work this way. Once you picked it, I can't pick it. That's not part of the fun of this. We're going to get 10 unique apps out of this.
We're playing for keeps, huh?
We're 10 unique apps out of this.
All right. Okay. Well, then I'm stealing OmniFocus with my number 5. I like that you can customize the perspectives, and those perspectives can be made up of different, tags and situations, and you have an incredible amount of control over how you see and when you see the things that you need to get done. At its core, it's just a place to put stuff that you want to accomplish. But with all of the power that's built on top of that basic core, you can use OmniFocus pretty much in any way that you want. And I was a Things user for a long time, and I really like Things. I think it's really well designed. I mean, it's won design awards. It's It's a great application, but you have to do things the way that they want you to do things. And in OmniFocus, that's not necessarily the case. You have more freedom and more flexibility to choose how you interact with the information you put in the app and when you can see it and when you can't, and all sorts of stuff. So it's not cheap, but I really, really have come to appreciate the app. Plus, you can get it on your iPad and your Mac as well. You can access it on the web. So it's just overall, I mean, it's been around forever, and there's many reasons why it's a go-to task management application for many, many, many people.
All right. Your first pick, OmniFocus. So I like it.
What do you have for number 5, sir?
Number 5 for me. See, this is the problem with doing a draft style, is that if you start at 5, you get sniped. So
are you gonna try and steal one from my list at 5, Mitch?
I'm trying to think of one that I can get in here that maybe you've got later on your list. So I'm going to go with Fantastical, because I'm pretty sure that you probably had that on your list, and I love Fantastical.
I did not have it on my list.
You didn't? Crazy. So this is my absolute favorite calendar app. And if you would have told me years ago I'd be paying money monthly for a calendar app, I would have told you were crazy. But this app is so nice. It works so easy. You know, the initial draw of Fantastical was the natural language scheduling. The fact that you can go into the app and you can literally just type out. There's not a syntax that you have to adhere to. You just type out meeting with so-and-so at this time on this date, and it automatically parses out what you're writing and creates the appointment. And I love that. My wife and I are both really, really scheduled people. We like to have stuff on a calendar so that as we look at the day, you know, today I can see that we're grocery shopping later. We got a budget meeting planned this afternoon just to look at the budget because we both got paid yesterday. And we've got a babysitting job tonight. She's babysitting. I'm entertaining. So, you know, that's how it works. So, but the kid that we're babysitting loves to play Mario Kart. And so we're playing Mario Kart tonight. That's pretty much how it's working. But I love Fantastical for that. In the newer updates, they have added some just crazy features. You can do calendar sets now, where I think a lot of us can say, you know, especially us geeks can say that we've got a ton of calendars, and they can muddy up the view oftentimes with just a lot of stuff. And so having those calendar sets works really nice. So I have several calendar sets. I've got my main calendar set. I've got a workday calendar set that's all my work related stuff. And then I've got a church calendar so I can check in on what's going on at church. And then I have a TV schedule calendar set that, you know, if I'm looking to see, hey, and I don't really keep a lot of stuff. We don't watch a lot of live TV anymore, or DVR TV for that matter. But if I know that there's a show that releases on every Friday or whatever that I'm watching, you know, I can throw that in there, and that just gives me a reminder that that show is going to be available on Saturday, and, you know, we can sit down and watch that. So a few different things that I've got in Fantastical that way. And then, you know, my wife manages everything in the regular calendars app. So whenever we have our shared calendars, she changes something, it automatically changes for me in Fantastical, because of course it's all linked up through iCloud. And it works really slick. I really like it. Right now it's telling me I'm recording the Inner Dialogue podcast, so that's good to know.
Well, I'm glad it took your calendar to tell you that, not the last 37 and a half minutes.
Yep. But something else that they added in here that I know some people have said is a really cool feature, but it's like, it's all right. Is that they've added weather into the app from AccuWeather. So if you're in the day view, you can see up in the corner, hey, it's going to be 90 degrees outside today, which means that I'm not going outside today. And there's storms coming. So you can tap into that and get more information in my calendar app, which I think is kind of interesting. So there's probably more to this that I love. What do they call it? Proposed meetings. I got to find it here. Hold on. Yeah, proposed meetings. So if you've got somebody that you meet with on a regular basis, or even maybe you're just setting up a meeting, you can send them an invite that's a proposed meeting. And this is not anything new. It's just something that they've added into Fantastical that makes it a little bit slicker. But instead of sending it and saying, hey, can we do this at 10 o'clock on Saturday? It'll say, hey, can we do this at 10 o'clock, or is noon better, or is 2? And then it gives that option where, that individual can send it back and say, this time is a good time. So that's kind of a nice feature too. And it shows up in your calendar as a proposed time, as opposed to something that is a concrete time. So, and I can't say that I've used that a whole lot, but it's nice that it's there in case we need it. So,
yeah, all right. So Fantastical's good.
So Fantastical's my number 5. So, Cam, what's your number 4?
Well, I'm trying to decide if I go for the jugular here or if I be nice.
Do your worst, man.
All right, number 4 is Overcast.
Overcast, I like it.
Overcast is a podcast app that is glorious and wonderful, and we've talked about it multiple times already on the show, so I won't go into a ton of depth here, but it has really good features, one being voice boost, which just enhances the audio and raises the volume a little bit, and it's a bit clearer. I don't use it for every podcast that I listen to, but there are a few where it is very, very helpful to make the audio better. And then the other one, and this is the silver bullet for me, is the Smart Speed, which will automatically analyze the audio and shorten silence gaps. So you literally save time. Like, it's the only app I have that can give me time back. So for instance, if there's like an hour and 10-minute episode normally, and I use it with Smart Speed, depending on how tightly the show is edited, you can save, seconds to minutes. So I can listen to that hour and 10-minute episode in an hour and 2 minutes, because of the silence that gets stripped. And 8 minutes, what do you do? Yeah. But if you listen to podcasts, I don't know, every day, that time adds up. And there's a cool tracker in the app that tells you how much time you have saved. And we compared times last time, and Mitch's was much greater than mine. But
I have a feeling I've been using it longer too.
Well, and it's not a competition, Mitch, but this top 5 is a competition.
I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be a competition.
That's what I tell my 3-year-old, and she's always like, no, but I'm going to win. It's not a competition. Like eating dinner. Oh, Daddy, you winned me.
Yeah.
No, we're eating dinner, but you won. You finished before me. You won. Like, everything is a competition to her. And it's very interesting because I'm not a very competitive person. So I'm not sure where she gets it, but it just cracks me up. Anyways, plus she hasn't figured out that wind isn't a word yet. And I'm still working on the grammar there.
But
it's cute when she
fun
says
when
it.
they're kids. Yep.
Yeah, it's cute when she says, "Oh, Daddy, you winned me. I'm going to win you." We'll fix that eventually, but it's too adorable now.
You're not going to win me. You already got me.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, Overcast, really, really well made app. It has features where like you can favorite a podcast, and it like involves your Twitter feed. And so people that follow you on Twitter will see that in the recommended section of their Overcast. And there's different, like, he has different built-in curated groups of podcasts based on like subject matter or podcast network. So it's just really well done, and I really like it, and it saves me time, and I appreciate that.
The sharing features in Overcast can't be overlooked either.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that too.
The fact that you can make a short little video that includes the audio from the episode and the chapter art. I'm sorry, the chapter. I always say chapter art. The cover art for the show, and post that to Twitter or post that to Instagram or something like that. That's just game changing. When he added that feature, that was incredible.
Yeah, because before you were limited to like, well, here's a link to this 2-hour podcast. You should probably listen to it. Like most people aren't going to do that. But to your point, and I cannot believe I forgot to mention this because you can record, a 5-second clip of 50. I think the longest you can do is 60 seconds, right?
That sounds right. And that works well with some of the, I think like Instagram only allows you to do so much. And
yeah. And then you also have the opportunity of what, aspect ratio you want to do. So if you want to record a 15-second clip for your Instagram story, you can do the full vertical, 9:16. And like Mitch said, it has the podcast artwork. It has all the information for the episode and the show. It has a little animated bar that goes across showing the progress of the time, and places where you can listen. Like he says, listen on Apple Podcasts or Overcast. So you can share specific clips with people. You can send them via text message, or post them to any of your social media stuff. And it has, square or portrait or landscape and all that stuff. And you can share the specific clip of the thing like, oh, hey, this was really funny in this podcast. Check it out. And more people are likely to listen to a 15 to 60 second clip than they are an hour long or a 2-hour long show. And so it just makes sharing bits and pieces of shows, just stupid easy. Yeah. And that is better for other people to get, oh, that's what this show's about. Oh, interesting. Okay, maybe I'll listen to the whole episode. Maybe not subscribe, but it's a much lower barrier to entry to share a podcast and solve the problem that up to that point was really, really, really hard to fix. So yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention that. Thanks, Mitch.
Yeah, and there are apps out there that do more than that featured in Overcast. I leave this stuff into the podcast just because it's funny, but there are apps like the Bullet app or Headliner that do it better and more attractive, maybe. But what Marco has done in Overcast with that feature is incredible. I really like it. And the Smart Speed feature is basically what keeps me in Overcast. Otherwise, there's conveniences to using Apple Podcasts. There is, you go look at like Pocket Casts is beautiful. It is a much nicer looking interface. Some folks use Castro and some of the other ones. But Smart Speed is what keeps me using Overcast, other than the fact that I've just really grown to like Marco and his work ethic and all that. So, all right.
What's your number 4, Mitch?
Number 4, I'm not going to be sniping you because I don't think you're aware of this because we talked about it last week after the show. But I've got Timeular. So, a little bit of history. I have been looking. I personally am one of those guys. I like to keep a lot of data on myself. I think a lot of geeks like doing this. Maybe not to the extent that I do, but I like keeping track of stuff and looking for patterns in my basic behavior and stuff like that. And I've I've started using time tracking for that a year or two ago. And I've used Toggle for forever. The Timery app, that is an app that uses the Toggle API and works with Toggle. And I like it a lot. I haven't really dived into the shortcuts and stuff like that for Timery.
Yeah, but they're pretty awesome.
I think, I hear some of the guys, specifically Mike Hurley, talk about them. And yeah, I think it'd be awesome to be able to use Timery that way. But I came across a little piece of hardware and this app called Timeular that they sell this hardware. It's not cheap, unfortunately, but they sell this hardware. It's basically an 8-sided dice. It's a maybe, I don't know, 2 inches tall when it's sitting on its side at least. So it's a decent size piece to kind of put on your desk, but it's appropriate. It's appropriate size. And what you can do in Timular is assign each side of that dice, so 8 different things, to a side of that. And so whatever side is facing up, that's what's being tracked at that time. So if I want to switch it to something else, like right now I have it on my podcasting time thing. I don't know what you call that. But I have it set up so that, I've got a little green circle with a microphone on it on that side of the dice. And I've got that up and it's tracking the fact that I am recording a podcast. If I want to switch over to doing Bible study or doing our budget meeting or something like that, I don't have to go into the app and start or stop a timer and then start a new timer. All I have to do is flip this dice or whatever you want to call it to the other side, and it automatically stops the recording or stops that event and starts a new event in the software. And so it's really, really nice. And the next step, and they've thought about everything with this, they took the next step to integrate with Toggle. So now all of the stuff that I'm tracking through Timular is going to Toggle as well and tracking in Toggle. So I have access to it through Timery as well. So it all round trips with each other and all works together really nice. And to me, it is such a awesome convenience to be able to just flip this dice to the side that for whatever I'm working on, and just clean, easy. The software looks really nice too. I know that it's not as fully featured maybe as Toggle or Timery would be, but it's a beautiful piece of software as well. One thing I can say that Timular allows you to do that you can't do with Toggle, or at least I haven't figured out how to do with Toggle or Timery, is to be able to put in future events. So, if I know that I'm working from, and I do track my work against everything else too, but if I know that I'm working from 8 to 4:30 on a certain day, I can track that ahead of time. I can throw that in there, and then I can adjust the time if it changes, but it helps me not to forget to put something in or get to the end of the day and say, oh shoot, when did I do that? Oh, I got to figure this out. And, and I've done that before with Timery and have been inaccurate and missed stuff and given up, quite honestly, and trying to keep track of everything. So this is just a great little thing. Sits on my desk, doesn't bother me unless I need it. And it's really neat. So I like it a lot.
Nice. There is
Did
something.
you get that I like that?
What? Yeah, no, it's duh. There is something I think desirable about the physical movement of the 8-sided die, right? Like, I would love to have something like that. I suck at time tracking, and it's one of those things that, like, in my mind, like, oh, I want to do that. And I'm like, but why? I'm never going to look at the data anyways. But the physical buttons to control digital things, that I'm very much into. Like, I have a thing called a Stream Deck for my gaming PC, and that's I think it's 4x6. So that's what's 4 times 6? 24 buttons on it.
I'll agree with it.
Yeah, it's 24.
Do I need to get my calculator out?
No, I haven't had any food yet today, so I'm starting to.
All right.
Lose.
And I've just had some terrible Pop-Tarts. So I
think we're both in the same spot there.
Nutrition has not been high on the list this morning. So
yeah, it's a grid of, I think it's 4x6, maybe it's 4x5. I don't know. It's across the room. But the concept is you can assign all sorts of different commands to the buttons, and then you can actually have the buttons be folders. So when you tap on them, you go down a level, and then it expands, so you can have hundreds of different actions on this thing. but like it's really nice to push a button and have it launch a game, or push another button and have it launch Chrome to a website. And just having that physical interaction, I find very appealing. So I totally get why you're into the Timular die thing, and having it do that, not having to start a timer, stop a timer, but you can just flip it because it takes half a second and then you're moving on. I'm down with that.
And it should be said that they have the software that they offer for free, with very basic tracking options. And then they do charge a subscription fee for the software. The device runs, I think it starts at $80 if you want to buy the device. And then if you wanted to get the software and the device together, they have different subscription fees depending on what you want. So I'd have to look at the website to remember what they are. But I remember that it was $249 just to buy a lifetime subscription to the software and get the device, which, because it's $250, I didn't do it. But kind of that model that I know TiVo has done that with some of their stuff. You know, you could have a lifetime subscription to TiVo for X amount of dollars, and then you never have to pay a monthly fee for it. And usually it was a large amount of money to do that. So it makes sense if you're paying for it monthly. Eventually it will turn around. It would be cheaper to just buy the lifetime subscription. But yeah, Timular, I love it. Works really well for me.
All right. Are you ready for my number 3?
I am ready for your number 3. Fire when ready.
It's an app called IA Writer. Have you heard of it, Mitch?
I have heard of it. I have never used it.
It is, it's just a plain text application, which, saying it that way, makes it sound rather boring and not great. You can get it on iPhone, iPad, Mac, Windows, and Android now. It started out just as an iOS app, but it has since moved, all over, and it handles plain text. So no, inline styling like, Microsoft Word or Google Docs, or you have, all those ridiculous options that take up 3 inches of your screen at the top. But it can handle Markdown in plain text, and then you can export to PDF in a bunch of various styles. So there's templates that come with it. You can create custom templates using HTML and CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript too if you're into that. But I like it because it uses iCloud to store all of your stuff, and you can have obviously folders and documents and that sort of thing. But it's just so clean and so simple, and there's a lot more to it than what I use it for. It's a scratch pad for me, but I also, anytime I write a blog post, anytime I do a podcast, anytime I'm writing something up, a lesson for church or a Bible study, or sending, correspondence to parents, like, it all happens here because it just gets out of the way, and you can just type and you can just work and get it done. And then I rarely export to PDF. I usually just copy and paste into the email, or, I just teach straight from the app when I'm doing youth group or church stuff. So it's incredibly simple in its UI, but you can do a lot with it. Like you can connect it to like GitHub, I think. Like it supports all sorts of advanced iOS document picker features that other applications like this do not support, like Ulysses, for example. But I don't even, like, if you really want to know what IA Writer is truly capable of, go look at macstories.net and see what Federico and his team are doing, because it's more than I care to do. But the point is, the power is there for the people that want to take advantage of it. But I just really appreciate how it looks, how it feels, how it functions, and that it just lets me do what I want to do, which is get in there, write, and then if I want to move the text elsewhere, I can in various different ways. So I use it, every single day, I would say. Big fan.
Yeah, and I can't say that I do a lot of text stuff, but when I'm doing stuff like that, it depends on the length of what I'm writing. The I haven't used iWriter, but I'll use Drafts for short little things, and then Scrivener for my larger projects. So I love Scrivener. I didn't put it on my list for today, but
Scrivener is it's an opinionated piece of software.
It is. I like opinionated.
Is that why you like me, Mitch?
Sure. We'll go with that. So right. Just an aside here. When I used Windows machines years ago, I loved being able to make all the decisions and do all the customization and just lose myself in all of that. And I think when it came to the time where I just wanted to start getting work done, that's when the Mac started making a whole lot more sense to me. And so a piece of software like Scrivener that does a certain thing a certain way lends itself to just the way my brain works now. Living within their set of rules and not having to come up with, I think that's why I don't get into shortcuts as much as some people. And I do want to get into more into shortcuts, but it's coming up with that, like, what do I do with this? Which is going to seem really counterintuitive to my next pick, but but I'm getting into some, we'll get there here in a second. But for me, the having opinionated software, that's what I love about Overcast. There's one way to do things. You don't have to figure out, like, how am I going to do this? You've got a nice, clean, easy way to do it. If you want to create some playlists or whatever, you can do it. And that's it, so not that there's a lot of different ways to listen to podcasts, but you get my point. Is that all you got?
For my number 3 pick. Yes. What's your number 3 pick?
All right. So I have wanted for years to learn coding, and I spent time, going through like the Big Nerd Ranch books and trying to learn that way, and never really found myself being able to learn a whole lot that way. And then I would watch videos, on Lynda or LinkedIn Learning, and just, would start to kind of hit a point in learning it where suddenly, like, my brain just flipped out and I couldn't figure out what we were doing, and just kind of gave up on it. Recently, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this another try, but I'm going to treat this more like I know nothing at all about how to program. And so I resubscribed to LinkedIn Learning and started working through their fundamentals courses. So they have a programming foundations fundamentals is, I think, the name of it. And I just finished that recently. And I just started the beyond the foundations or beyond the fundamentals class that they have. That's kind of the next class for that. And so they teach Python in that class as kind of a starter language. And so I thought, you know what, I want to try this. And really, like, LinkedIn Learning could be my pick here. But I'm gonna forgo that. I think LinkedIn Learning is really cool. And if you have something that you're really looking to learn, they've got a ton of stuff up there. I wouldn't say they've got every single thing that anybody would ever want to learn, but especially business stuff, coding stuff, creative endeavors, software, stuff like that. There's a lot of cool stuff up there, but that's not my pick. My pick is Pythonista.
Ooh.
I sat down after learning how to do, what was the class? That wasn't iterations. It was something right before that. But just learning how, I think it was converting integers and stuff like that, which, quite honestly, like I said, I've done that stuff before. I just never really started from square one, where I admitted I knew nothing and I needed them to teach me everything. So I sat down with Pythonista the other day, and I started banging out a little bit of code on my iPhone, no less. I was not using a Mac or a iPad or anything like that to do this. I was doing this on my iPhone, and I coded a really quick little app that I've been thinking about just wanting to test out whether I could do this or not. So at work, when we get a truck that's floor loaded, we figure out like how long this truck should take us to unload, because we have to handle pretty much every floor loaded box by hand, send it down a conveyor, and the folks outside the truck work those to carts that they then later on they'll take out on the floor and work those carts. So my job as a supervisor is to give them a time goal as to how fast we should have the truck done. So if there's 900 cartons on the truck, then we have to look at, so how many people do I have that are outside of the truck working those carts and pulling stuff off the conveyors, putting stuff to the carts. So if I'll have anywhere from 2 to 4 people out there. So I need to figure out, if I have a 900 piece truck and I have 3 people outside the truck, how long is that going to take? Or there are 2 people outside the truck, how long is that going to take? And normally what I would do is I would go into CalcBot and, just do the equations right in the calculator. And I would have to type in, 900 divided by, they figure that each associate should be able to handle 4 boxes per minute. And so if I have 2 associates outside the truck working the truck, then they should be able to handle 8 boxes per minute. So 900 divided by 8 would give me the result of how many minutes it should take. Likewise, 12 boxes if you have 3 people, 16 boxes if you have 4 people outside the truck. So what I did is I went into Pythonista and I said, I want it to ask me for the number of cartons on the truck and then just tell me what the time should be. And so that's all I wanted this app to do. It was super simple. I mean, obviously it's not a very difficult app. It's basically, you feed in a number, you have to convert it to an integer, and then spit out these 3 equations as your result. And so, but I did that all on my iPhone, which I thought was really, really incredible that you can do that in this app. So that's why Pythonista is my choice. And I may fall in love with this for a million other reasons. And it's got shortcut integration. So I built a shortcut that I can tap the shortcut. It takes me into Pythonista right to that program. I type in my carton number and it spits out the result and I'm good to go. I just close out Pythonista and I'm done. So
nice. Real world application.
I'm sure that there is a more elegant way to do what I did. Not the code necessarily, but just the way that I incorporated it with shortcuts. And there's probably a way to do this right inside shortcuts, but I'm proud of my code. So I had fun doing that.
Nice. I am a bit surprised that you're into Pythonista, but I like it.
You are surprised?
Well, I mean, not now because you gave me the whole backstory, but I was not expecting, like if we were going into this and I had to predict the 5 apps that you were going to say, Pythonista would not have made the top 30. So,
well, it's kind of my newcomer pick. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. All right. Number 2, shortcuts.
Yes.
Shortcuts.
So shortcuts.
Yes, shortcuts. Now, I am not a shortcuts expert. I would say I'm a shortcuts intermediate. But the beautiful thing about the internet in this particular instance is that there are plenty of people who are shortcut experts who share the shortcuts that they have made. And while not all of them are useful, some of them are quite cool, and it's easy to learn because you can download them, and then obviously you get to see how they were built. So there's just a lot of opportunity to learn from smarter people about how to build shortcuts. And there's some people that like build shortcuts with like literally like 200 steps. I'm not into that. That's not saving me any time because the amount of time it would take me to build something like that is just like, I'd rather just touch the button manually and, whatever. But I have shortcuts for controlling my smart lights, for controlling my television, for controlling Overcast, and for controlling timers that get used the most. And a lot of those I just use with, the lady inside my phone. And I'll say, hey, you. Play Overcast, and it will just start up where I left off on my last episode. Or I'll say, hey, you turn on my bedroom light, and it will turn on my bedroom light to the specifications that I have inside the shortcut. So a lot of mine are just really simple, but the voice integration and the ability to tap a button in a widget is just really convenient because, instead of, I have to open an Overcast, I have to go to the last episode, open that up, hit play, or I can just tell the lady, hey, play Overcast, which is great. Like if I'm doing the dishes or mowing the lawn or whatever, right? And my hands are otherwise occupied or gross or wet. So that helps. And then the ability to switch a timer and say, hey, you start, inner dialogue timer, and it'll start a timer inside Timery with the project, and all that stuff already pre-done. So you can go like crazy in depth with shortcuts, but I tend to just try and do very simple ones that reduce the amount of time and physical interaction I have to have with my phone in order to accomplish something simple. You can add stuff to OmniFocus that way. It's, I have a few that's like, just show me today's schedule or show me tomorrow's schedule. And it pulls up a nice view of my calendar for this day or for the next day. So just little things that are convenient to me, but that I can build and get sort of that same satisfaction that you had when you built that app with Pythonista. I go, there's a satisfaction in building something that works and that is convenient and cool, even if it is simple, right? Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not helpful. So
you're solving a problem.
Exactly. And that feels good. Mm-hmm. Scratching your own itch, as they say. And so while I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of ridiculous shortcuts that do incredible things, the fact that I can have an idea and then hop into shortcuts and build it in 10 minutes and solve that problem or improve a process, like that's really, really cool. And I'm really glad that it's something that we have on the iPhone to use as we want, and to be able to have it in the widget or have it connected with Siri or have it on your home screen or just have it stay in. Like I've got a bunch of shortcuts that just live in the Shortcuts app because I don't use them very often. But the flexibility and the ever increasing power that Shortcuts is receiving as far as, new integrations and new capabilities and that sort of stuff. It's just really cool. And I never in a million years would have thought that Apple would allow this sort of stuff and then B, realize how good of an idea it is and buy the company.
Right.
And integrate it with iOS on a native level. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah. And I'd really want to dive into shortcuts more, but I find myself opening the app, looking at it and going, yeah, I ain't got time for that right now. Well, I got to figure this out. And
yeah. If I'm going to be building something, I actually prefer to build it on the iPad because that extra screen real estate is incredibly helpful to get a broader view of what you're doing, and to have like the slide over for all the actions and stuff on the left-hand side. Whereas on the iPhone, you're covering your work, like the panes, just the extra real estate on the iPad is very helpful when you're building shortcuts.
All right. Shortcuts. Yeah, I'm going to have to dive into that in a little bit more now. So, all right.
What's your number two?
My number two. Well, we've talked about it on the episode before, and I don't want to belabor the point too much because I have talked about why I like it so much, but Carrot Weather. This is a daily driver app for me. I love this app for getting weather. I almost don't use, the only reason I'm not using a Carrot Weather widget right now is because it's not available. So I have the regular Apple Weather widget. But which, by the way, if you haven't noticed, and I'm looking at it right now because we have some rain moving through the area, they have the dark sky stuff integrated into the widget, which I think is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, Carrot Weather, I can open up the app, and I'm opening up the app right now. It's got the Carrot Weather integration. So I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen with this once Apple doesn't allow that anymore. I'm really hoping that they're going to make some kind of API for it that these weather apps are going to be able to use. But you open it up, you can look at, see, what the percentage of weather for the day, is there a thunderstorm that could be going through the area? And I've said this before, and I apologize if you guys have heard the episodes prior to this and you're like, Mitch, you're just going over stuff that you've already talked about. But I love the radar. I have spent a lot of years trying to find a decent radar in an app, and I have spent money on apps. I have downloaded multiple apps, signed up for subscriptions, just all kinds of stuff to try and find an app that has decent radar in it. And Carrot Weather, their radar is great. The only thing that I would like to see is they have their storm tracks, which I really like, because like today we've got storms moving through the area, and it can kind of show you where the direction of the storm and where it's going, and they colorize it by the severity of the storm and all this stuff. But I have seen it in an app, and I don't know where I saw it, honestly. But there was an app that actually would show you, it would have little lines inside the cone for the storm tracking that would give you like a 15-minute, 30-minute, 45-minute, an hour, and how long it was taking for that storm to move to that point in the cone. That would be kind of cool, but they don't have that. But other than that, man, that, and it's funny.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true.
Ever since we talked about this on the podcast, I think it was even like episode 1 that we discussed it. We've been sending stuff back and forth between you and I, just funny stuff that has popped up. It says right now, it says rain stopping in 20 minutes. Don't tell me I never did anything for you. So, which is kind of funny, but there's been some that are, jokes about like, social things that are going on, stuff that's going on in our society right now, different things like that. I think there's been some coronavirus jokes in there. And yeah, so Carrot Weather, like I said, we've discussed it ad nauseum on the show here. And I think you and I both love this app.
Yes, indeed. But I knew you were going to pick it, so I didn't put it on my list.
All right. Well, we're down to number 1, man.
Oh, drum roll.
What's your number 1 app?
Have you heard of an app called Spark Camera, Mitch?
I'm going to roll this back. Does that have anything to do with Adobe?
No.
No.
Adobe does have an app called Spark. But that is more for like idea capturing, I believe. Spark Camera is an app that has been around for, a very long time. I actually downloaded it like many years ago and tried it out, and then for whatever reason got rid of it. But it is actually the first app that introduced the swiping left and right for different filters that Instagram became famous for. Spark had it before them. Not that really matters, but it's just kind of fun to think this little indie video app came up with an idea that Instagram used and, became famous for. But essentially what Spark Camera allows you to do on your iPhone is shoot video, in any orientation you want, portrait, landscape, and you can shoot 720, 1080, 4K, depending on your phone, and then the frame rates associated with those resolutions, depending upon your phone. But what's really neat is you just tap and hold to record, and then stop. And then tap and hold to record, and then stop, and then tap and hold to record, and then stop. And you build these videos off of these clips that you're recording. And then within the recording that you've just made, you can edit directly on your phone, which is super awesome with the way they have it done. So you can edit the clips, and then you can set the in and out point for each clip, and then you can set the transition between that clip and the next clip. You can set the volume of the clip they actually have a category, a full library of royalty-free music that you can use to add to your videos. You can speed up a clip, you can duplicate a clip, you can slow stuff down. And then once you're done with that, you can, do the swiping to all the different filters. You can record voiceover in the application. Then you can control the volume between the voiceover, the music, and the original audio of the clip. And it's all super, super intuitive, very easy to use, very simple. And then you can export. When you export, it'll save it to your library. And if it's over 15 seconds, it'll ask you, you can share it directly to Instagram, directly to YouTube, or the share sheet. And if you choose Instagram and it's over, even if it's under, you can split it at 15 seconds for your story, or you can just open Instagram if you want to post it to your story or to your timeline, right? But it will split at the 15 seconds, which is super, super helpful. If you want to share something to your Instagram story that is over 15 seconds, it'll do it for you automatically, which is really nice. And they just introduced a cloud feature where you can record videos and you can post the videos to Spark Cloud, and then you share the link of that video with your client or with your family or whatever. And it's a privately stored video that they have access to via the link that you share, which is pretty neat. You have the option to watermark your videos if you want. So it's a really, really, really cool, powerful video app for your phone, but it's super easy to use, and it's super easy to shoot a video, edit it, turn it around, and post it really, really fast. And there's a lot of really cool tutorials online of people that are using it for, Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all this sort of stuff. But, it's just, as someone who has a 3.5-year-old who likes to, make videos, it's really easy when you're chasing a kid around to just tap and hold on your phone and then let go, and then tap and hold on your phone and then throw some music on it. And then you've got a fun little video that she'll watch 20 times because she likes watching herself. It makes her laugh, And so even from just a basic little like non-professional use like that, it's just fun. And we'll go back and we'll watch her. I've got videos of her playing the keyboard at church, singing songs from Moana that, she thinks is hysterical. And I'm definitely going to show at her wedding. Like, but it's just the ease of use and the capability of the app are what bring it to the top of the list for me, because it's fun to use and it's really easy to use. And if anyone out there is looking for a different approach to shooting and editing video on your phone, this is the way to do it, because you don't then have to take the multiple clips and combine them in some video editing software. Like, the app is the editing software and the shooting software all in one. And you can have multiple Sparks, as they call them. So I've got like 10 in there right now that I have saved. That are all self-contained projects, I love it.
Yeah, and I downloaded it, which I think might be the first app on the podcast today that one of us downloaded during the podcast. So,
well, I hope you like it.
Yeah, it looks really nice, except for the fact that as I opened up the app, the first thing it does is say, "Hey, you want to do a three-day trial?" So, but I'll have to play with that later.
I'm interested to hear what your number one is. I've been trying to think about it, and I don't quite know what you're going to pick.
So I'd be interested to think. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I took Overcast, and I took OmniFocus from you. You've already mentioned Fantastical and Carrot.
All right, this is an app that we've discussed.
It's not Portal, is it?
Nope.
Okay, well then I quit, guys. I'm going to be wrong again.
All right. Well, no. we are a podcast that of a couple of guys who are both
it's good
Christian men.
Yes, that's Logos. Okay, duh. Yeah. Okay.
So this is an app I literally use every day. My wife and I do devotional time in the morning. I use it throughout the day for different other things. This app, it's a Bible software app. It's available on the iPhone, on the iPad, and the real powerhouse is on the Mac or PC. They have a version for both. And on the surface of it, and the way that I use it every day is we have a Bible plan, a Bible reading plan that's set up. Right now we're working our way through Psalms, and we're taking it in just little bite-sized chunks. We're not trying to read too much. We're just taking little bits and pieces as we go through. I actually set it up, read Psalms in 6 months. So it literally, like, we're getting 10 verses a day or so, just to kind of little bits to chew on. My prayer list is in this app, so I can go in and I can open up my prayer list, and I won't say who we prayed for today. I can go in and, there's three people on my prayer list for today, and you can set people up to be on that prayer list. So my prayer list tomorrow is different than today. And everyone that I have on my prayer list gets kind of slotted into one of the days of the week, so that we can kind of, my wife does a lot of the like collecting what their prayer requests are. And then we will go in and pray for them, one day out of the week. Otherwise we would pray for half hour every day, just trying to get through everybody. But just that feature alone has been really cool. But then you get into the Bible and just the stuff that you can do in the scripture. If I'm looking at the scripture and I hold down on a word, or double tap on a word, it pulls up a definition. I get the original language that it was in, what the case is, or they call it a morph in here, but what the case of the word is, the Strong's number, for those of you who have worked in the Strong's exhaustive concordance. If you've worked in that before, you'll know that every word has a number. So this gives me the Strong's number as well. And then I own the Vines dictionary. And so what pops up next on the bottom is, here's the Vines, the word that this is attached to in Vines, and gives you a really thorough definition. And right now I'm looking in the Hebrew, and because the Hebrew isn't as exact as the Greek can be, it gives me a ton of different words that are used throughout the scripture as a translation for this original Hebrew word. And so really gives you a sense of how this word is used throughout scripture, and gives you a reason and such why the sense of this word here is and why the translation of this word is the way it is. And so it really makes Bible study easy to do anywhere that you are. Now, if that was all it does, that would be enough for me. But there is a whole other world of stuff that this can do. So it will read the audio to you. And depending on the version of the Bible that you're using, like there's an ESV version that has a narration to it. So you can sit and you can tap, play the audio, and it will read it to you using that narration. If it doesn't have a narration already built in for it, at least on the Mac, I don't think it'll do it on iOS right now, but it will read to you in that kind of clunky computer voice. But at least,
for God so loved the world.
Yeah. so it can be a little bit difficult to listen to, but sometimes it works well for what I'm doing, because I sometimes, if I'm trying to just read, it's hard for me to comprehend that. But if I've got the audio playing along, it helps me to stay engaged with it. It's got the ability to take notes. It's got guides that are available in here that will walk you through a lot of different stuff that passage is concerned with. And on the Mac, at least, or on the PC, you can customize a guide to everything you want. So you can literally put a word for word translation of an entire passage of the Bible right into the left-hand column. Now, at some point we'll talk about Mac apps, and, I'll probably exempt myself from talking about Logos when we get to that. But there's guides in here that will help to open up the scripture more to you. There is a cool feature called visual copy that if I select a verse, I can select visual copy from this drop-down menu, And instead of just copying the text and spitting it out in plain text, what you can do is select a background. I don't know if it gives you the option to select a font style, but then once you have that built, you can share that to Instagram. You can share that to Twitter. You know, it's kind of a neat way to share something that you've read this morning or any day. I guess whatever. But you can share that to, you know, your social media to say, hey, you know, here's something cool I read this morning. So, you know, I don't do that a lot, but every once in a while I come across something that's like, you know what, that's really cool. I'm going to share that. So, and my Instagram followers probably just swipe past it and think I'm a kook. But there is a ton of other features. You know, we could talk about this for a while. We talked about Proclaim last week, you know, with our church tech for the presentation software. If you were sitting in my church and you had Logos open, because we use Proclaim, you can see it right at the bottom of the Logos app, you know, what scriptures that we're in. It sends out what they call signals that will trigger a little pop-up at the bottom of the screen to be able to move to those scriptures more quickly instead of having to type in or whatever the passage. You can just tap on it at the bottom and it'll take you to the scripture verse that we're going to. So some really cool stuff. This app has so much in it, and it has the ability to have so much more in it than it does. And I won't talk about workflows because workflows aren't available on the iOS app, but that's something that we can certainly talk about at some point in the future if we discuss the Mac and PC app. So Logos. If you are a Christian, you're looking for a Bible app, and you're willing to spend a little bit of money to get a lot of cool features, this is definitely the way to go.
All right. That's our top 5.
That is top 5. Did you have anything that you didn't talk about that you wanted to bring up? Just a quick lightning round.
I mean, I use Apple Music every day and I love it. And then
Same here.
The HomeKit app and the Hue Lighting app I use every day as well. And honestly, those are things that I've just gotten into in the last week or two with the you know, the addition of my Hue lights, and I just got some Logitech cameras as well that showed up 2 days ago. So I'm still, you know, figuring that out. I actually tried real quick, tried to download the tvOS 14 beta on my Apple TV to take advantage of the HomeKit integration, but it didn't work. So I have more research to do. So I may have more to talk about that on next episode if I can get the beta on my Apple TV, because that allows you to have, it actually has HomeKit integration in the control center on the TV, and you can view your cameras in picture-in-picture, which is just kind of neat. So those would be like the lightning round ones I use every day that I actually really enjoy.
You know, I would throw in Instagram, the Audible app. What else do I use on a pretty regular basis here?
Chess.com.
I do use chess.com.
Yeah, me too.
Do you? We should play.
Oh, what's your rating? Because that'll determine if I want to play you or not.
What's your rating?
I'm trying to figure out where I even find that. How do you find that out?
I don't have a high rating if that's what you're worried about.
Yeah, I think on like the 30-minute games, I'm at like a 1,300, but on the shorter games, I'm closer to like 1,100. I need time to think, Mitch.
I usually play like the correspondence games.
Oh, like you get like a day to move?
Yeah, days at a time. So, but anyway, I can't find my rating in here. Whatever. But no, it sounds like you're a little better than I am. So you probably would love playing me.
Let's do it.
Oddly, I use the Wallet app a lot. I have an Apple Card, and I think that the integration that you have with the Wallet app with the Apple Card is amazing. It makes it really easy to keep up on paying off the card as you use it and stuff like that. The 3% back going right into Apple Cash is really cool. I do like that a lot. I'm looking forward to buying my new iMac with my new Apple Silicon iMac on the Apple Card and getting an insane amount of cash back on it. So, but is there anything else? Oh, but the one thing that I have not liked about the Apple Card is the ability to, like, I use QuickBooks for my business stuff, and I just re-upped my subscription to that. Plus, we use Mint, and you can't get Apple Card into that because they don't have the hooks into it. Even with adding the new website that they have for the Apple Card, you still can't log in to anything in any of those apps yet, and that's a little frustrating because I need that in there so that I can manage all those purchases. So, but that is what it is. I'm hoping that'll come in time. So other than that, deliveries is really cool. I don't know if you use deliveries for your online purchases and stuff like that to track your shipments.
No, I tried it out, I don't know, a year or two ago, and I wasn't all that impressed with it. But
there's a new one called Shop, I can't remember what the old name was, but they just changed their name to Shop, and it's a purple icon. I just started using that one recently alongside of deliveries, and that, if you're okay with it being able to get into your email, it's kind of a nice one to use because it automatically scans your new emails coming in for delivery information and then auto adds it into it. The interface is really nice, but depending on how you feel about it, being able to get into your Gmail account, it's, that's kind of up to how you like it. So other than that, I mean, I use Maps every day. I use, the Find My app has really gotten a lot cooler since they integrated everything into it. Spark email. That's pretty much my go-to email app. Other than that, I have been trying out LifeSum for calorie tracking. Although I'm told that Food Numbs is the way to go for food tracking, but I already paid for LifeSum, so I'm kind of bought in for a little while here at least. So
yeah.
Other than that, I don't have a whole lot more. I have anything else you want to
add? No. I think I gave you guys the headliners on my phone at least.
Sure. The Timular app is telling me that I have exceeded 106 minutes on this task and I need to take a break. So I think it's time. Timular is telling me I got to wrap it up. So,
all right. Listen to the robots, Mitch.
It's been fun talking about some of our favorite apps, and hopefully we'll be able to do this in the future with other things. So we do want to make a note for everybody. We do have our URL now, so you can go to innerdialogue.show, and we've got Cam to thank for that one. I don't know that I would have had the patience to deal with all the DNS garbage and stuff, but
we got it sorted.
Yeah. So you can go to innerdialogue.show. That's innerdialogue.show to find us on Fireside. And you can also find us on Twitter if you've got questions or comments for the show, or you just want to let us know where we got it wrong. I'm Mitch Craig, MITCHCRAIG on Twitter. And you can reach Cam at Cam Brennan, CAMBRENNAN. And until next time, Cam, it's been fun.
Indeed. I enjoyed this one.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.